Travel family, welcome back. This is the last episode of the year 2025. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, for watching. It really means a lot to me that you are tuning in every now and then or every week to come on and share the space with me. So I hope that you are having a magical season and a beautiful turning of the wheel as we head into the new year 2026. I have just returned from Egypt and from walking between the temples that have held memory for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And as I arrive back home in the hustle and bustle of Christmas, the more I return from these expansive pilgrimages, whether it is as a participant or also as a space holder, one thing that has become very, very clear to me is that the journey never ends when you arrive back home. It is the integration that really makes the codes come in and online and allow the embodiment of those in your day to day. So, sacred travel is really an initiation, and integration, the integrating part, is the embodiment of it. Without integration, and even the most profound activations that we have remain unclaimed in a way. And I have been in situations where I arrived back home from expansive spiritual travel experiences and really to find myself completely lost in the day to day environment. And over time, I have developed quite some techniques to really help me to land softly, gracefully, easefully, and not just me, also my environment that didn't travel with me. And today I want to guide you into the art of travel integration, how to anchor in expansive frequencies, upgrades, and remembrance into your nervous system, into your cells, and also into your daily life. Because in the end, this is why we're doing this, right? So we want to bring more love, more expansiveness into the life that we live on a daily basis. Now, when we travel to sacred lands, our system opens wide. There is memory that awakens, maybe from past lives or fractals of your soul that you're reclaiming. And also, our DNA becomes very receptive. So, the state that we are in is very liminal, almost like timelines are shifting. That I love the sentence, like the sands of time are shifting. But the truth is also, most people are not really taught that if you rush back into life as it was, the frequency has nowhere to land. And you will go back home depleted and really finding yourself, excuse my language, in a shit show. And it's almost like there is a spotlight shining on the things that are no longer in alignment. And the integration is how your body learns how to hold more light that you have accumulated and really bring this into the day to day, whether this is your family life as a mother, as a partner, as a wife, or also in your work environment. So this is when really the medicine, the sacred site medicine becomes embodied. It's not just that inspiration for a moment of a light spark, but it really changes you and it changes the fabric of your reality for a lifetime. So I want to walk you through a couple of pillars that are part of my personal practice and that have really helped me anchor in the codes that I collect when I go on these journeys. So, pillar one, and I want to say it's the most important one, but I feel that they are all important. So, pillar one is somatic integration. And one of the techniques that have really helped me here is body tapping. So, you might be familiar with EFT, emotional freedom technique. It's inspired through that. But basically, what you do is you sit and you start tapping your body and you allow, so whether this you take your collarbone or your heart or anywhere else on your body, your third eye, your temples, and you can do this gently and softly, or you can also do this a little stronger. But what you do is you work your tissues to open and to allow these higher frequencies to really be massaged into the cells, into the organs, into the tissues. And so these frequencies do not integrate through understanding solely, although this is one initiation process, but they integrate through the felt sensation in the body. So I work deeply with tapping, EFT, as I said, but also breathing and also gentle somatic modalities to guide frequencies into the fascia, into the nervous system, and into the cellular memory. So whenever you can, like really touch your body, speak to your body, and allow it to reorganize, because there is a whole cellular reorganization that is happening place when we are exposed to these higher frequencies. And also, we are completely detached from what is going on in our daily lives and get a different lensing. So it's not that your body is behind, but it's actually that your body is the gateway. It is through the embodiment that ascension happens. And I also do want to give a shout out to one of the last episodes that I had with Barbara, for example, or some of the other ones where I speak about the body as ancient body technology. So you might want to go back and revisit them as well. I think you'll like what we speak about there. And that also leads me into sometimes what can happen when we go back home, that we fall what we might call sick. And it happened to me as well a couple of times, specifically also the first time that I was a participant on a pilgrimage through Egypt. And if you imagine, there is for a couple of days in a row, you are like constantly receiving different activations from temples, from the pyramids. And this is true no matter where you go, but you are constantly receiving, receiving, receiving. And there is so much information, frequency information, vibration, this memory field that you are tapping into, that it can also bring you out of balance. And for everybody who's traveling with me to specifically Egypt, I always say that Egypt is a very physical experience, or it can be a very physical experience. It doesn't have to, but it can be. Why? Because we have a certain level of, let's say, capacity that we operate on our day to day. When we travel, and then we travel through a lensing of spiritual expansion, we come from a complete different understanding. And we literally like expose our body to these higher states of frequency all the time. And then we go back, there can be a rupture in your body, but also within the environment that we operate in. And so I want to say, like, ultimately why we are doing this, because we are expanding our capacity to live life. But then we go back and we feel like, oh, shoot, like so many things that we were used to or that felt safe, that felt common, don't work anymore. This is also my birth month, and I wanted to take a moment to really celebrate with you. Thank you so much for sharing this space with me. I really appreciate that you are here. Your presence and devotion mean so much to me. And I would like to thank you and have a special gift supporting your soul path in 2026. You receive 21% off your Akashic Oracle reading for 2026. This reading is a sacred intuitive transmission that is offering you clarity for your next steps, insights into the soul themes of 2026, and also guidance that speaks to your divine sequencing and timing. So, this is for those who feel that the coming year is their divine catalyst for walking in alignment, trust, and embodied truth. There is a code that you find below. The code is Oracle 26. Check the link below where you can book your Oracle reading 2026 and receive 21% off at the checkout. This is my birthday gift and my year-end gift to you. This is also true for our body. And so oftentimes we schedule these travels in as still kind of like a bucket list item, as like, go there, been there, done that, been to this temple, been to that temple, took my pictures, maybe did my ritual. But this is not what it is. And integration is never, ever linear. It really comes in spirals. It comes in divine sequencing and timing when the pieces of the puzzle fall together. And going back home and making space, like really spaciousness for yourself, for your integration, for your body. And it might feel as if you're not doing anything, but this is not true. Like integration is also an act of doing, or it's an act of allowing, but it's not needed much. All that is needed is really time and space and stillness. And this is something that we don't often gift ourselves spaciously throughout our year. So I want to encourage you that as much as you love to go on intentional and sacred travel, also to plan in time for integration. And that doesn't mean that like 3 weeks after you return, you can't have anything in your calendar. Of course not. But depending also on your day-to-day, your engagements, your responsibility with family, with work, just like plan in so it makes sense and you can accommodate these moments of integration. Maybe this is an hour a week, or maybe this is 5 or 10 minutes a day. Just see that it serves you. And this is really to be in whatever way it serves you. So that body tapping or the somatic experience, the somatic integration can be one pillar. It doesn't have to. So find what works for you, but really make this an art, make this a time and space for you to come and sit with your soul to understand what is brewing behind and under the surface. So, pillar two, if you want to say so, now that you have carved out some time, what helps me immensely, and I really want to encourage you to do that, is journaling. And it's not really like journaling. You might want to journal in terms of like, oh, what were the sites that I visited? What were the activations that I got? But it's also a good idea to really do this already as you go. But then in the integration process, sit with it again. Maybe like check your notes, check what you have written down in the specific sites, what you felt, and try to go back to that feeling, try to go back to that emotional state and the body sensation that you have, because this is what you're doing here is literally you're translating and you are reinforcing what has happened to become part of your reality. So that maybe certain questions or question prompts in a way of like, what did this land, the site awaken in you? What is no longer available? What is ready to be lived now? What is asking for slowness? But it's also the process of, I love automatic writing where you don't have any prompt and you just sit down and you start writing and you don't pick up the pen. And as soon as you pick up the pen and you realize that your mind is wanting to influence what you're writing, like put the pen down again and just write, 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 write. And this is a lot of the channelings that come down for me. I'm not saying that it has to be the same process for you, but I am giving you what has worked for you to try out for yourself. And this is a technique to anchor in the subtle rounds and the frequencies into a language, into a written word, and into a reciprocity. So there is a lot of subconscious information that you are making visible and that you can then read again and you can go back and read it again and understand, or try to understand at least, and bring that into a coherent field with the reality that you live in. Pillar 3 that I also really love is meditating or just sitting and receiving information with sacred objects. So I have just returned and it was my birthday. So my sister gifted me this beautiful, beautiful scarab with an amethyst. What I usually do when I go on travels with permission of the land, I collect water, I collect sand or stones or crystals, and any kind of organic material from the land, from the temples, from the sites that you have been to, can be a flower as well, holds the frequency of that land. So, with the water, for example, I don't just keep the water, but I would make a vibrational essence similar to a flower essence that really captures the frequency and that I ingest upon returning home over a period of time so that the frequency in my body and my while being back at home in my field and my day to day and my work and my responsibilities as a mother, as a caregiver, can continue to unfold within me in a very subtle, gentle, and easeful way. And anything that you have, maybe you took a crystal with you and you charged it in the temples, in the pyramids, or you brought an object. So it's not just souvenirs, but it's really these frequency anchors, these talismans of power that bring this energy with you. And so anything that you want to sit with, even oils, I love to go to the oil shops in Egypt because they really like work with the original essence of the plant and with your body at the same time. And so this is a beautiful way as well to combining the somatic pillar, if you want to say so, and also the sacred objects. So it's a remembrance, not just of the sites, but also of your body as the temple. So what you can do is you sit with them and you let them attune to your field. I love, especially when I know that I have a consecutive, like several days coming up where it might be too much for my conscious awareness to take on, I have crystals with me and I allow the crystals to charge. And whenever I feel like, oh, I'm done, I tell them like, look, this is your task to collect the codes. And then when I'm back home, I sit with the crystal and I meditate and I ask the crystal to please deliver to me whatever it is that I need to recollect. So these objects remember the sacred site medicine, even when our conscious memory, our conscious mind forgets. Now, if you're taking anything as a living, organic being from the land, it's very important to always, always ask permission. On the other hand, if you are getting something from a very busy place, so in Cairo, we went to the Khan el Khalili market, for example, and for those who have been, it's just like, oh my goodness, such a hustle and bustle. And the pieces, as much as I love the pieces that I get there, I cleanse them. So really also feel into if they need some cleansing first from everything that you do not want to take on. It doesn't necessarily mean that they will leave everything. You can still ask to like for them to keep the codes that you need and need to recollect and let go of the rest. Okay. And then pillar 4, that is also one that I really love. And Egypt specifically is working through this pillar in particular with and for me. And this is dream work, sacred creative expression and grid work anchoring through your dreams. Because this, specifically when you do not allow yourself time to integrate, this is the time when your body slows down, when your subconscious becomes or comes online and your conscious goes into a rest mode. So, after powerful travel, dreams very often become more vivid or even more symbolic and really like this living tapestry of you walking through a memory grid, through a memory field where there is new gifts coming online, and it can be very powerful and valuable to record them. So again, like note your dreams down or the way that you're feeling. And this is not about deciphering all of the nitty-gritty details of the dream. It's more like note down what is the setting? How are you feeling? Is there any patterns? Is there anything that you experienced that you haven't experienced before? So this can be like tracking points of a pathway where this is leading you to. So the dreams often reveal where the integration is already happening or where it wants to happen, even on a deeper level in your daily life. And through that and with that, it's also a creative expression. So anything that you feel called to maybe draw or move with your body, building an altar. So, sitting down and creating an altar with all the things that you have collected or that anchor in this frequency of the sacred site, the sacred medicine where you traveled, or for the next travel, the art of writing. So, all of these things that allow the frequency to move into a form for you to become visible, audible, expressed in any way, singing. So the grid work is still anchoring. And I feel that integration is really it's a sacred art, and it's also a sacred responsibility that often gets neglected. And I just want to encourage you that when we want to differentiate ourselves through conscious and intentional travel, that we have a responsibility to also not fall into the spiritual tourist trap, but really to continue like staying present as we go home. And it's not like we take the responsibility out of the day to day and then bring it only into these moments of like traversing the temples, but it's actually in the home where this happens and where we want to stay present and where we want to stay in this light frequency. And this is nothing, I'm not talking about any bypassing here, but yeah, that sacred responsibility, I think that frames it very well. So bring the frequencies into the land where you live, bring them into your home, bring them onto the stream of water next to where you live or the forest where you live, to the mountain. Let your body and also the earth integrate together because we are all that woven web, that intricate mycelia that is all and ever connected. So the grounding when you go back home, whether this is through water or the earth, like walking bare feet, breathing, all of that, like bring it in, bring it in. There is not one technique. And you might find that all of what I'm saying doesn't work for you. And then you have your own. Please share it with me. I always love to explore and love to try out new stuff, or there is something else that works for you. There is no one size fits all. And a part, yeah, I want to say like the reason why I am so passionate about this is because I have also experienced myself that integration is not always gentle. And I want to not spare you from that because I am a true believer that whatever happens is supposed to happen and it's part of the integration. So even me falling sick after my first Egypt trip was very much needed for me to not go into action mode. I remember that our facilitator said, do not take any life changing major decisions after the first 4 weeks that you have returned home. And of course, I returned home and I wanted to, yeah, like flip my world upside down. And the universe just pressed pause and said, like, You don't do anything. You just stay in your bubble. It was COVID back then. So I received my coronation and everything sorted itself. The scales of ma'ats came back into balance again without me having to do anything. And this is also a realization of handing over the responsibility when we have taken on too much and just like, hey, you deal with it, figure it out because I cannot. So I guess I want to reframe that whenever you think that you might fall sick after a trip, and no matter what this is, whether this is a stomach flu or any kind of, inflammation or sickness or even emotional waves, it is all part of the process. It's part of your field recalibrating itself. And I have reframed the word sick or sickness, like I try to not say that anymore at all, depending on who I talk to. I want to encourage you to do the same and see if you can consider it an upgrade, like an energetic upgrade to your body. And that will be the same when you come back and you find yourself in situations or like with people who suddenly feel misaligned. And there is nothing wrong about it. It's a recalibration. It's really your system, your field, your reality reorganizing itself. So it can come back into balance, it can come back into alignment. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to all of a sudden like change things all over, that you have to drop people, that you have to cut relationships. Not at all. It's just that you come from a complete detachment and like different sphere or planet sometimes as it feels, and the spotlight is shine on the things that are no longer in alignment. And so I am inviting you to observe, 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 and also forgive, which is probably one of the most important practices upon returning home until things are reorganizing themselves. And after a while, if you find that the recalibration hasn't taken form in space in a way that you desire and it really feels true to you, of course there is action steps needed, but I can just pass on that recommendation, that guidance that I have received about the do not make any major life changing decisions within the first 4 weeks after returning, because the crash can be even harder. Like, don't make it more hard on yourself, make it easeful, make it graceful as much as possible while keeping boundaries for yourself and observing how everything wants to be reorganized. So allow the frequencies to settle. Yeah, observe instead of reacting. And what feels off might just be that spotlight instead of a big crisis. So support your body with rest, ritual, journaling, nature, and also people that do you good, where you feel comfort and frequency coherence. Another thing that I would want to bring up that has helped me immensely and that I am also offering and extending as an invite to you is a 22 free program that I have that is called Mastering Your Creatrix Power. And if you feel called to integrate these upgrades gently, consciously, and also deeply, that is what I have created that 22-day journey for. And this is regardless if you are coming back from a conscious, expansive travel, or whether you just feel called to embody more light in your day to day. This program is not about doing more, it's really about becoming more embodied. And it's 22 days because this is the time that we need, that our brain, that our organism needs to understand, to comprehend that there is new routines being established. And there's a lot of guidance that I have packed into this, which is all my personal experiences, all my personal practices, techniques that have helped me integrate to live the life that I'm living today, basically, and to be the person and to become that light anchor that I am today. So all of what you will find in there is nervous system friendly integration, is daily micro practices that you can weave into your day as an inspiration, not as to-dos, embodying really the feminine creative power and anchoring frequencies into your body and into your life. This is the same rhythm that I return to after powerful initiations and also sacred travel. This is the way how I live, the energetic containers, the energetic boundaries and frequencies that I set on every single day in my life. So you can join this journey completely for free, and you'll find a link in the show notes. So you can just go below and click the link. And every day you will receive an email into your inbox over these consecutive 22 days, inspiring you with certain techniques to broaden and enlarge your capacity of spiritual connection and also connection true to yourself so you can live more out of that soul alignment. Another thing that has also helped me is for a couple of months, or actually even years now, I have been working with frequency creations of the brand Levy Lights. It is mostly different aura sprays, but it's also skincare cosmetics, it's body lotion, it's all different kinds of personal care products. And the very cool thing about them is that they are purely natural and they are all infused with the highest frequencies of nature. So it's not supplements, it's really products of a daily use that are frequency based creations designed to support your natural energy field, the cellular communication of your body, cellular renewal, and also nervous system coherence. So I bring them, honestly, I bring them with me everywhere I go. They also have the little travel packs. But after these big initiations, the body often needs more support to sustain higher frequencies without depletion. And so the Levy Lights creation really helped my system to remember its natural rhythm. So the expansion doesn't lead into exhaustion. And if you want to learn more about these frequency creations and how they can support your travel integration, or maybe even just on a day to day, how you can have better energy levels, how you can feel more refreshed and radiant from within, then you'll also find that link in the show notes. So, my friends, sacred travel does not end when you return home. It really continues to live on in your body because you become the tuning fork, you become the sacred medicine steward of that place, of that land, of that site. And it continues in your body, in your dreams, in your breath, in the land beneath your feet, the people that you meet. So choose one practice today and allow your frequencies to settle. Let your creatrix power become lived and embodied. And may what you touched on sacred lands now walk with you, fully embodied, fully alive. I am wishing you a most magical season of light, no matter what tradition you follow. And I'll see you in the next year. I'm very, very excited for 2026. And as always, stay curious and continue to seek out the extraordinary. I'll see you next time.